Hey, everybody, welcome to Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with the miserable liberal and Ron Placone.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hello.
Hey, Ron will be in Florida in January. Go see him live at his concerts. Go to ronplacone.com. So this has been going around. So Trump pulled out of Syria or announced he wants to pull out of Syria. And that's why that's one of the reasons Mattis is taken off, his defense secretary, because he's a warmonger. And Trump is pulling out. Nobody really knows the real reason. On the surface, it looks like he's fulfilling a campaign promise. But we don't really know. But either way, we look at it as a good thing. Now, a lot of people have been saying we should stay there, or we got to leave in an orderly way. We can't just pull out, and which I don't agree with. I don't agree with any of that. Even Chomsky. So this article, people have been passing this article around. It says Noam Chomsky. It's from Kurdistan 24. This is where I got it. It said, Noam Chomsky says the U.S. should stay in Syria to protect the Kurds. But notice the date on this article. This is the thing other people aren't mentioning when he said this, because people think he said it today or after Trump announced his Syria withdrawal. This is from October 3rd of this year, 2018. And here's what he said. The other crucial quote, this is quoting Chomsky, the other crucial question in the status of the Kurdish areas, Rojava. In my opinion, it makes sense for the United States to maintain a presence which would deter an attack on the Kurdish areas. That's what Chomsky says. Chomsky noted that the Kurds have succeeded in sustaining a functioning society with many decent elements in Syria's north. I'll be honest, I didn't know that. Did you know that? That the Kurds had succeeded in sustaining a functioning society inside Syria's in the north? I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Not until I read this article.
Right,
earlier.
not until I read this article.
Yeah.
The idea that they should be subjected to an attack by their bitter enemies, the Turks, or by the murderous Assad regime, it's funny. You could say that about any regime, any government. They're murderous.
You mean even Obama regime?
Yeah, what government isn't murder? I don't understand. So that's just weird that he did that. He goes, or by the murderous Assad regime, I think is anything should be done to try to prevent that. So the idea that they should be subjected to an attack by their bitter enemies, the Turks, I think is anything should be done to try to prevent that, he says. Chomsky backed a petition in 2016 condemning military operations in Kurdish cities and called for peace talks between Turkey and the Kurdistan Workers' Party. Then Chomsky goes on to say, this does not change the fact that now the United States could, with a relatively small presence, deter attacks against the Kurds in Syria, which could destroy the one part of Syria that is actually functioning at a decent fashion. This is what Chomsky's saying.
You know, when I hear, somebody say relatively small presence, I also kind of want to know what the numbers are. Like, what would a small presence be?
I know. So this is what he was saying this in October. And so if you're all, so everybody has their moment when they disagree with Chomsky, and this will be mine. Now, I could still be wrong about this, but it's that time we get the F out of the Middle East. It's time we get the F out of the Middle East. I'm sorry. We've been in Afghanistan for 17 years. We've been in Syria. Well, we've been trying to overthrow Syria since at least 2006, probably before that. We've been actively engaged since the Arab Spring. We've been funding ISIS. We've been funding the terrorists. And it's weird because now people want to. So Chomsky's not saying this, but other people say we got to stay, like Lindsey Graham. We got to stay there to fight ISIS. Well, if we're going to stay there to fight ISIS in Syria, Assad is also fighting ISIS. So we're helping him. So that's how you can tell it's bullshit. That this war is bullshit. That's how you can tell. So, because if we say we're there fighting with ISIS to overthrow Assad, that doesn't sound good. We're fighting with ISIS? No, we're fighting against them, but that's with Assad. Nobody ever brings that up. So I still totally disagree. The Kurds, by the way, have gotten the shiv from the United States repeatedly, and they should have learned their lesson a long time ago. Do not get in bed with the United States. They will shiv you. And so Trump is shivving them. He says he's leaving. And Turkey probably will go in there and try to wipe them out. So what happened where the Kurds are is ISIS used to control that territory, and they were selling oil secretly to Turkey. But then now the Kurds are there, and the Kurds we have some United States soldiers embedded with them. And so now nobody will attack them because if you kill some United States soldiers, there's a real freaking problem. So if Turkey kills some U.S. soldiers, there's a real problem. So that's why Trump has to pull them out so Turkey can go in. I would like to help the Kurds. We can't be the world's policeman. We've got to get out of the Middle East. We've got to get out. We're not gonna. This Trump then went on to say he wants plans drawn up to get out of Afghanistan. Now, a lot of people say this means that Trump is actually going to do a sneaky thing and try to have paid soldiers, like Blackwater, stuff like that, mercenaries, go in and do the best. So he could say, look, I withdrew our troops. I don't know what's going to happen. And everybody's speculating. No one really knows. But again, it's time to get the F out of Syria and stop blowing that place up. It's time to let them sort it out. The Middle East has to take care of the Middle East. Could you imagine? By the way, we're in Syria frickin' illegally. We're not even there. We're breaking international laws by even being there. We weren't invited by Syria by Assad to go into a sovereign country. We're in a sovereign country. So it's illegal. And so apparently we're all supposed to care about law, and we're supposed to be upset because Trump doesn't care about law, but everybody's now encouraging him to keep breaking international law. So there you go. Anything by my panel?
Well, I was going to just adding to, and not even so much responding to Chomsky, but just as the big thing, when people bring up like, well, we want to leave, but we got to do it responsibly. Like, I'm not a military expert, but I really don't know what that means exactly. Like, whenever we withdraw from a place, it's not like it's a high school kegger and everyone scrams because the cops get there. Like, there's a process to it. So when a lot of people throw that around, like, to me, that sounds like you just want to stay indefinitely. And, like, I just don't understand what that even means. Like, well, what does that mean?
I know.
And, like...
So how long do we stay with the Kurds? How long do we have to stay there, Ron? That's the question I would ask Noam Chomsky. So
right.
Noam, we have 800 to 1,000 military bases around the world. How long do you want us to keep a presence in Syria? We're in Syria. We're in Afghanistan, occupying that country. We're in Iraq. We're in Libya. We're in the Sudan. We're in Somalia. Where else so how long do you want us to stay in Syria because of is there another group anywhere in the world that needs protecting that we should go invade another country to protect? Why don't we go inside to Saudi Arabia and try to protect the people who want to drive cars and our women? Why don't we do that? I mean, there's a lot of people we could save. And so I would have to hear more. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying at some point you got to get the hell out of the Middle East.
Well, I'm just relieved that all of these wars or military exercises have been done responsibly.
Yeah.
I'm glad nothing irresponsible has been happening in the Middle East because of what the United States has done. And, we sit here and we've had the conversation before, and everybody has had this conversation. Our presence in the Middle East, does that create greater ideas of peace towards America, or does that create more people who hate America? What do you think, Jimmy?
I'm going to guess the latter, huh? So there you go. There you go. So here we are. But again, I don't know so you have to keep in mind, this was in October, Chomsky said this. And so now I'd like to hear what he has to say about Trump saying we should pull out. I went to his website. He hasn't I went to his Facebook page, Chomsky I'm talking about. I went to his Facebook page. I went to his website. He hasn't, as far as I can.
I looked around too, and I Googled like December 2018, because this article is, as of our recording of this today, this article's trending again.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people clicked it thinking it was today.
Right.
And,
I bet you a lot of people don't even look at the date.
Yeah.
There you go. But we did over at YouTube. Our next live Jimmy Dore show is February 1st in Burbank, California. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a list of all our live shows, and please become a premium member if you can. Become a patron. It's the way we support this show because they're coming at us, and we give you bonus. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Check it out. Become a patron. And if you can, make sure you're still subscribed. They unsubscribe people every day. I know it sounds crazy. It only takes a second. Please make sure and click that bell when you subscribe so they'll send you a notice when we drop a video. Thanks for your support.